This Batgirl Premium Format Statue by Sideshow Collectibles can easily be considered as one of the best statue releases last 2024. At that price though, man. Welcome everyone from What's on the Table. This is Prof G and you are watching another episode of Graded, the show wherein we're not just going to unbox or review a particular statue, collectible, or figure. We are actually going to give it a grade at the end of each video. So for this episode, we are going to grade the 1/4 scale Sideshow Premium Format Statue Batgirl 2024 release. Now, the reason why I had to specify the 2024 release is because we had past Batgirl releases. We have the classic Batgirl Premium Format Statue by Sideshow, which was released around 8 years ago, which costs around $399. Then we had another Premium Format Statue Batgirl released 4 years ago, which cost around $560. And we had this latest Batgirl Premium Format Statue by Sideshow released last year, and this one costs $720. Now, if you're gonna look at it, man, look at how far we've come. Inflation. Now, of course, the $720 price tag is turning out to be not really much of a surprise to us anymore, as this is kind of like the average price point for a premium format statue nowadays, as based on the recent announcements of Sideshow. Now, I'm gonna talk more later on the price point difference from previous Sideshow premium format statues later on, as this is going to be a hot topic. Now, if anything, it's making me a much more responsible collector, as I really have to think about the pieces that I want to buy. So, be a responsible collector. And yes, let's talk more about this later on. Now, right in front of you is the art box of the Sideshow Premium Format Statue Batgirl, and I kinda like it. Yeah, it's showing us what the statue looks like, but not just a regular photo of the statue. It has a little bit of a sketch and vector artistic feel to it. So yeah, I kinda dig it. Priced at around $720, I got this from Heroes BGC for around 45,000 pesos. Which I think is still a fair deal considering I don't have to pay any hassle from the additional shipping fee, customs fee, and all that. But the main question we will be answering later on is the $720 price tag for a premium format statue justifiable? Again, this is a 1/4 scale statue. As you open it up, you will be greeted with only one level of styro and very minimal parts. I have to emphasize that you will only get minimal parts, no switch outs, and minimal accessories. Based on the promotional materials, I am sure everything will go together perfectly. You got the base of Batgirl, which is the defeated looking clay face. And the reason why I show this first is because this is one of the selling points of the piece. I'm gonna talk about this more later on. But look at the bottom, edition size 2,200. That is a lot. You have her cape, which thank goodness it is a sculpted cape, because I had the classic flaking issue from the previous Batgirl statues. You have her hand attachment holding a crowbar, which, still arguably, if this is the only weapon she has, this cannot defeat Clayface if you ask me. Another hand attachment, and a lot of batarangs, which looks great. You're gonna need that if you're battling Clayface. You have the body of Batgirl, and yes, I have a lot to say about that later on. And last but not the least, another selling point of the piece is this gorgeous looking head sculpt of Batgirl. Oh yeah, by the way, almost forgot. You have the power plug for the light up feature of the base. So those are all the parts. Very simple, not a lot, no switch outs, and no more delays. Let's start the assembly of this Sideshow Premium Format Statue, Batgirl. My collector friends, this is the 1/4 scale Sideshow Premium Format Statue, Batgirl. Now, before we begin talking about the statue in full detail, we gotta give credit where credit is due. Daniel Bell did a phenomenal job in sculpting the statue, and at the same time, we gotta give huge props to Chi Izuma, who did the paint job of this Batgirl Premium Format Statue. Now, Daniel Bell, who is no stranger to us in giving us great sculpt work for Sideshow statues, admittedly said that this was his very first female sculpt. And for a first, this one looks pretty great if you ask me. And for Chi Izuma, if you follow her socials and videos of her painting various statues, especially female characters, she really has a good vision and feel for the piece, so it would be great if you send them some love and appreciation by checking out more of their works and videos online. Now, going back to the statue, this Sideshow Premium Format Batgirl did not disappoint at all. Though we were not given a lot of accessories or switch outs, I think that's okay. I mean, I can still say the final look of the statue is packed with a lot of detail, a lot of stories, and a lot of Easter eggs. And for us to identify each of those, we gotta start dissecting the statue part by part. Buckle up, guys and girls. This one is a statue with a storytelling piece that actually makes sense. First, the base. Now, usually we work our way up to the statue because we want to save the biggest selling point of the piece last, but you cannot deny that this base is a well thought of masterpiece. It's really refreshing to see a statue where you can incorporate two characters and strategically not overshadow the main character, and in this case, they use a defeated or neutralized looking Clayface as the base of Batgirl. If some of you may not be familiar of Clayface, well, basically he can shapeshift to any form he could imagine and still has superhuman strength. Here you can see Batgirl standing on top of Clayface with mouth wide open and showing a bit of a struggle as he tries to shapeshift into other forms but couldn't. You can see here he was trying to shapeshift into other forms with faces coming out of the muck, attempting to change his form into Batman, Nightwing, and even Commissioner Gordon. Pretty cool, right? But how could Batgirl, who is just holding a crowbar, neutralize Clayface like this? Since Barbara Gordon aka Batgirl is facing Clayface and one way to fight the villain is to maintain distance or just use range attacks, you can see here lodged on different parts of his body these electrified batarangs, which is, evidently, electricity is one of the weaknesses of Clayface, especially if you catch him unprepared or vulnerable. That is why you have a base that has a light up feature showing the inner parts of his body are glowing, care of that electrified batarangs he was struck with. Mwah! Great storytelling right there. Second, the body. Now, I got used to the clean looking Batgirl sculpt and paint job from before, where there is not a lot of texture and even a lot of variation on color tones and blends, but this Batgirl painted by Chi Izuma really gives us a fresh new take. Simply put, Batgirl came out of a very challenging fight against Clayface. If you are gonna look at it from top to bottom, you are gonna see a lot of weathering and stains being shown from her suit coming from mud, dirt, and even blood stains on her bandages. Now, when I saw how this was painted, Chi Izuma really thought of how blood would look like if it was absorbed by cloth, accompanied by dirt and mud stains all around. That in itself is a detail we have to appreciate, especially since you would rarely see the presence of blood on statues. Even in the leather parts of the suit, you are gonna see a lot of weathering, but not in a way that's overpowering that it takes too much attention to the overall look of the piece. You have scratches and torn leather parts on her thighs and a really worn out windblown cape to accompany it beautifully. Now, I did mention that she was holding a crowbar on her right hand, and I said a while ago at the beginning of this video that it's gonna take more than a crowbar to defeat Clayface. But knowing what we know now, this is probably her weapon of choice to give those final big blows on a close range attack after she neutralized Clayface from her electrified batarangs. Third, the head sculpt. This is not an exaggeration. That is one beautiful looking head sculpt of Batgirl, and I think this is one major selling point of the piece. Considering this is the very first female sculpt of Daniel Bell, Major props to him, from the captivating look on her eyes, the tilt of the head looking sideways, the eye color, the eye makeup, the glossy lips, and the slightly open mouth with the look as if she's about to wipe some blood that is coming out of her lips from the battle, and the modern looking cowl with weathering all over, plus the placement of her famous red hair at the back. Beautifully done. Now, with all that being said, and I have given high praise to this statue from the sculpt, texture, paint job, weathering, details, and Easter eggs, it would seem like it is the perfect Batgirl statue, right? Well, here's the thing. Yes, in itself, it really is a good looking piece, and even though the edition size is 2,200, which is, by the way, more than what I expected, you're only ever gonna get one look. Again, you don't have switch outs on accessories or head sculpts, but the question is, for a $720 price tag, are you okay with it? Am I okay with it? Objectively, I'm trying to imagine what would be a better head sculpt look or an add-on switch out for this piece, and to be honest, yeah, I have some ideas, but it will only be like an extra and not really something that will give a big impact on the piece itself. I think what's bothering me, and even a lot of collectors said this, is the huge leap of price point with minimal inclusions. Remember, not too long ago we had the Harley Quinn Hell on Wheels with 2 head sculpts for only $580, and now practically the same statue with only 1 head sculpt, just a change of clothing, now costs $700. Collectors are gonna react and inevitably compare it with their past purchases, and some of it was not too long ago. But going back to this Batgirl, at least it's an original look. It's not a variant of some kind. It has a cool looking light up feature, both static and breathing lights if I may add, and the overall piece from its storytelling features to the Easter eggs, details, textures, sculpt, and paint job is a work of art. Am I okay with the price point? My simplest answer would be, at first I wasn't. But then again, if I really wanted it enough, I gotta live with it. Maybe times have changed and raw materials and production is much more expensive now, I guess, but it will only make me a responsible collector to only get the ones that I really want instead of something I want to get for the sake of filling up a shelf space or to complete a line or something. And this Batgirl by Sideshow, in my case, is an example of that. Something that I really want, would love to be part of my collection, and enjoy looking at. Having said that, for this Sideshow Premium Format Statue Batgirl, I am going to give it a grade of 8.7. Fair grade. Very well made piece by Sideshow, and everyone who worked on this deserves a huge praise. Although the price point is not something we can control right now, it doesn't mean the output should get flack because of it. Thanks guys for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do me a solid and click on the like and subscribe button, or just give me a shout in the comment section below. If you have a different grade you would want to give this Sideshow Premium Format Statue Batgirl, please let me know also in the comment section below. Thanks again guys, this is Prof G and you just watched another episode of Graded. See you all on the next one.